This is a production of Cornell University.
After we finished my co-author and I finished the first major progress report from an ongoing study of the Yangtze Delta region, I became curious about, well, to what extent were our findings specific to the Chinese context? China is so different from the West. Were we reporting results that were context specific to a society, a culture, a time in history of that society? Or were the mechanisms general mechanisms? So I got interested in studying the emergence of a high-tech economy in New York City, in Manhattan. And this is the site for the Cornell new campus on Rockefeller Island. But initially I was interested in that effort, but then I realized and stumbled upon the fact that already, even before the tech campus began construction on Rockefeller Island, that after the financial crisis of 2008, to everybody's surprise, New York City became the center of an enormously rapid emergence of high-tech startup firms, mostly concentrated in Lower Manhattan. That before 2007, New York was really not that distinctive in the high technology sector, well behind Boston, well behind Silicon Valley. But by 2012 and 2013, New York City had emerged as the second largest high-tech economy in the United States, and growing at a more rapid rate than any other centers. Of course, Silicon Valley is still the center of things, and so of course so we began the study, and you've been involved and very helpful in the study, Todd. And it's in progress. We're still at the early stage. We just completed the exploratory phase, and now we have a number of grant proposals that will seek to, if we get one of them, we'll have the funds to complete the study at a level comparable to what we did in the Yangtze Delta region. But the initial preliminary observations, I wouldn't say they're findings yet, is that surprisingly, even though New York City is so different institutionally from China, because New York City is a center of American capitalism, and it has a well-established economic institutions and well-established property rights and rules of the road, rules of the game, which are inclusive and protective of private property right, and so making New York City one of the great financial centers of the Western world. And to what was really quite striking as a preliminary observation, I wouldn't say it was a finding yet, is how parallel the mechanisms are. That in New York City, the source of dynamism comes from below, from the young entrepreneurs who are building the tech economy. They are improvising as they grow that economy and developing their own key economic institutions, the New York Tech Meetup, the Flatiron School, the General Assembly providing technical training for knowledge workers that are key to tech firms, the Entrepreneurs Roundtable to help startup entrepreneurs gain funding and meet venture capitalists and angel capitalists. There's a whole array of economic institutions, including office space that allow startup entrepreneurs to rent a desk, rent a cubicle in the key startup period before they have funding. So what I'm observing in New York City is the importance of self-organization and bottom-up effort. Of course, the fact that Mayor Bloomberg was very encouraging and friendly to technology firms is consequential. It was important. Government matters, and it mattered that that New York City's economic institutions are very good, because it led to a more rapid emergence in New York City than in China, which took a much longer period of time. In New York, in a matter of 4 or 5 years, New York emerged as the second largest tech economy, basically from far behind the other major centers. And that could happen because the economic institutions and political institutions are so well established and so favorable to entrepreneurship.
This has been a production of Cornell University, on the web at cornell.edu.